So I'm so excited tonight. One of my favorite people, Shayla Hess, is here joining us, and we get to hear Shayla's story with LifeWave. If you don't know Shayla, she's a certified fitness trainer, CEO of a yoga wellness brand, Chakra Kingdom, which I've had the experience of attending. And so she's a beautiful leader, beautiful trainer. She's also a former NBA Phoenix Suns dancer and a Canadian Football League dancer, as well as a singer, songwriter. And you are back in LA because I know it's been pretty tough with everything going on, but I mean, LA is your home.
Yeah.
So I know that you have such a passion of helping clients one-on-one. You're a personal trainer as well. And you've really dove in and incorporated LifeWave into that. And so is this a pretty organic process of just asking you, how was that? Who introduced you to it? And what was your process of getting to know and learning about LifeWave?
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to share more. And I just love LifeWave, the product, the energy, the people. It's really changed my life. Like you, obviously, I was a little skeptical at first, but I'm a big believer in frequency and energy. So my mom, who's on the call, Lisa Lounsbury, she introduced me to the patches and she's like, you got to check this out. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it. But again, I was a little skeptical. So I'm like, let me just go ahead and try it for at least a month or two on my own before I'm going to recommend it to people or clients and stuff. So for me, right away, I'm like, well, I'm interested in the energy enhancers because I work out 5 to 6 days a week. I'm doing yoga, dance, boxing, running, working out. So it's nonstop for me. So I'm like, let's just try the energy patches. And within the second day, I was like, this is crazy. My energy was through the roof. Like my stamina was crazy. I was just like lifting heavier, felt stronger, like was running faster. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. What is this? So I was like, okay, once I felt that, then I really wanted to open myself up more to it. And at that point, I was also dancing, but I was training for a half marathon. So my time frame and my speed for it was a 10-10 pace. I finished in 2 hours and I ran the full way, not stopping. So, and that was about the same around a couple months before I started using the patches too. So after I did that, I was like, okay, I believe in them. I love them. Let's see what they could do for some of my clients. So I have a wide range of clients aging from 18 to 65. So I've just seen different results for different people. So one of my younger clients had a stomach issue and I was training him for fitness, but it was kind of getting in the way. Like he'd have stomach problems and not be able to show up to a session. And so I'm like, why don't we just try the patches for your stomach issue? And then, I'm sure it's going to combat that. And then we can focus on the fitness side. And sure enough, it did help with his stomach issues. So I'm like, okay, great. And his job, he's always doing physical weird things. So the Ice Wave and X39 have just really helped him to combat whatever he's going through from whatever he might happen. He washes cars at this like car wash nonstop. So he's just like shriveled up. And I always feel so bad. So, and then I had another client who's an older man. He was looking at getting stem cell injections. And I was like, why don't we hold off on the stem cell injections and just give this a shot and we'll see. And after about, I think it was a month, not even, he was like out of pain and sleeping fully through the night. And he was not even able to sleep at all. He was like super sleep deprived, not sleeping full through the nights. So after the 30 days and he was finally able to sleep through the night and the pain was really subsiding, he was just like, what is this? He basically was like, I don't want to believe you because of the direct sales component, but I think I have to because of the results. And I was just like, it sells itself. And that's where I really had to remove the direct sales component and realize like this is shifting people for the better in physical ways and mental and spiritual that are very unheard of and something I've never seen. And I've seen a lot when it comes to the wellness world. And I'm a life coach also. So it's just pretty crazy. And then for me, as it went on, I've been on it 2 years now. My hair started just growing and growing, and I couldn't grow my hair was like this short my entire life. I couldn't grow my hair, and it was probably my biggest insecurity. Um, Especially as a dancer, performer, singer, I'm on stage and all these girls that have long hair, and I'm like having to clip in extensions, and it was just like really frustrating. So now I have all friends that wear extensions and I don't. This is all my natural hair, and I'm so grateful for that. Um, and yeah, I could go on and on and on, but my hormones too, the SP6 has now become one of my favorites. It all started with the gym and started with training, but then I was like, oh, let me try this one and this one. And the more I kind of allow myself to just learn it as I went and did it at my pace, like it was good. And the SP6 has completely leveled out my hormones. I don't kind of go so much like this through the month with me, and it has saved me. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and there's a lot of things that we don't sort of feel until we start to sort of pay attention to that. And would you find like listening to people's experiences and then you're like, oh yeah, because you've been to a couple of events. Well, actually, you've been to a couple of major events, which is always fun. That's where I get to usually see you, right?
Yeah.
And so how does did that sort of impact you to really know what you had in your hands? Because we can have our experiences and everything's fine. We start to see those things. But when you're surrounded by a lot of people who have had experiences, what does that do for you?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I've seen both ends of the spectrum. I've seen it work for people instantly and they can feel it. And then there's other times where people are like, I don't know if I'm feeling anything, but they have to go through a bit of a process and then they're noticing subtle things. So for me, I really noticed like certain people were like, oh, I'm noticing like I'm sleeping deeper, or like my skin's looking a little more clear, or my eyesight, like I'm just colors are brighter. So it was just really interesting hearing and seeing that. Oh, and then the people that it happens instantly for, like one of my good friends and roommates, he is a huge bodybuilder and artist and DJ, and he's a big believer in frequency and energy. So when I told him about it, he was like, he trains a lot too and needs it for recovery. So he just got his patches in tonight. So I was just on a call before this call and he's all excited. So and his face just was like, what is this? The minute I put it on him. So it was really cool.
I love that look from people where it's like, oh, they don't even have to say anything. You know that they're feeling something, but it's really hard to fathom. Sometimes we have that instant response, but you really did touch on something where you have to, whether we feel it or not, this technology has been proven by deep, deep research and development for the last 25 plus years. So, sometimes listening to other people's stories will keep us moving forward to really give it that good go. Because
Yes.
eventually you're going to notice things. Some people notice it right away, and sometimes it takes time.
Yeah. And I couldn't stress enough to really tell people to please give it time too. Like my dad's blood pressure, we checked it before we started the patches and it was through the roof. They wanted him to go from 200 milligrams to 2000 milligrams of on medication. We got him on the patches and I think it was about 60 days later and his blood pressure test came back down.
Oh,
So yeah, we were really excited for that too. So there's just so much amazingness around it, but it is, you can get it. I found it like, oh, there's moments where I'll get in my head or people will get in their head and I'll have to talk them off the ledge a little bit because like you said, you don't maybe feel it or this or that, but it is subtle and it does work.
yeah, because I'm sure you didn't feel your hair growing, but I mean, there it is, right? No.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then a friend of mine who just signed up also in Florida, she's a big fitness girl also, but she just texted me and she's been, I think, 2 months now. And she's like, is your hair growing? I noticed my hair's growing. I'm like, sure is.
Nice.
So it's kind of fun. You never really know what it's going to target or what area. Like you want it to target a certain area, but sometimes I think we've talked about this before. Like if there's a certain area that needs attention, usually the patches or the energy will go there. So it's cool.
I think that's a really good point because a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to get on the patches because I've got this back thing and I really want this back issue to be dealt with. And
Mhm.
when it doesn't happen right away, they're like, well, these aren't working. But what they may not be knowing is the depth of what may have been there where your body knows, like, I got to go there first. And then when we fix that issue, then we'll go over and fix the back.
Yeah,
So yeah, so it's our body's so intuitive.
it
And so
is.
if we're just a little patient, we can really see. I always say the length of use is when we see the magic really happen.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so true about I've had, brand partners or friends or people that are get a little bit caught up on the placement. And of course, the placement is there and we know, use the booklets and use for the placement, but I can't stress enough to actually like follow your intuition and trust yourself and trust that where it's meant to go, it will work and it will help.
I love that you brought that up. I absolutely love that you brought that up because if anybody knows me, when I first started, I was like, oh, I was running, I was doing stuff, I was busy. I didn't really look at it. I don't even think I opened a brochure, honestly. I opened the pack, I looked at the pack, and I just put it wherever I wanted to. And I will tell you my results happened. So, I mean, if when the brochure is where they used it in the clinical studies and they proved it, right?
Right.
So it's beautiful, but that's such a good point because when somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know where to put it," and then they don't put it on because they don't want to do it wrong, you can't do it wrong. And
Yep.
I love asking that question, where do you feel like you want to put it? And whenever
Mhm.
somebody says, "Oh, I want to put it here," I said, "Perfect, perfect spot, put it there."
Yeah.
And really just to start to trust ourselves a little bit more with it. So I love that you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the minute your brain starts to try to figure it out, just stop. Just stop because you're not going to figure it out. So just let it do what it's going to do and embrace it.
I love it. Yeah, David's figured that stuff out. He's proven it. It's all good. Just put it on and reap the benefits of it. It is a fantastic technology. So, with that, we're going to open it up to questions and things like that. But is there anything that you want to leave people with today that you want to just share with them as we wrap up this? Thank you so much for sharing already.
Yeah, absolutely. I would just say if you're here for a reason. If you've been brought into the call, you've been brought into the call for a reason. It's such a not only incredible opportunity for your health and wellness, but also just to be a part of a community and a group that really is of higher vibrations and out for humanity and wants to see the world do good things for other people and for each other. So trust yourself. And if it's a yes, if you're a three, woo. If you're a two, if you're a one, we'll see you soon. And that's all I got.
See you soon. I love it. Thank you so much, Shay.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for having me.